Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing okay today and that you are ready for some more The House in Fata Morgana. And I definitely hope that my voice is gonna hold up for this because it's a lot better than it was yesterday, but it's still a little bit tired. Almost 4 hours of reading a story out loud. It's not something my voice really is trained for, so but hopefully it will go fine. I think it sounds fine at least, so hopefully it will hold up. So yeah, we are getting closer and closer to the end of the main game, which is both very exciting and also kind of bittersweet actually. I think that we want to, or that I want to do it in 3 parts, so we are going probably to have 2 a little bit shorter streams than normal, and then we're gonna have a finale which will be however long it has to be, but probably around like 2.5 hours, I think. I tried to study a bit yesterday to see like how much was left. So I think 3 more episodes, including the one today, is a good way to go. So if I'm thinking correctly and we are not deviating from the path too much today, I'm thinking maybe about 1 hour, 1.5 hour today. Probably, but we'll see. It depends on my reading speed as well. But yeah, that's my initial plan, at least for The House in Fata Morgana right now. We better get a barrel of honey plus tea ready. Yeah, I actually did have some tea with honey yesterday. It was very nice. Probably should have gotten some today too, but I will probably do it later, so it's fine. It's not like my throat is hurting or anything, it's just feeling a little bit tired, but I haven't spoken to anyone today more than my cat, so it has had plenty of rest at least, so hopefully it will manage this stream today since it's not going to be as long as yesterday. But yeah, we left off at quite a cliffhanger yesterday. We found out that the slave that Maria said was dead maybe not. That may not be true actually. And we also found out that there is an old lord and a new lord, and we don't really know the connection there yet. So yeah, that will be interesting to see as well, what that is all about. Like, who is this Jean-Francois Barnier, and what does he have to do with Jacopo? Because so far everyone has turned out to be the same person that they were behind their respective doors, and Jacopo right now is the only exception with his Jean-Francois Barnier kind of thing. So we'll see about that. Hi Quill, welcome, welcome. You have a theory day, do you want to share it before we start? I'm curious. I'm very curious about your theory. But yeah, this part is gonna be good. You have something to look forward to, definitely. Yeah, exactly, chef for the class. Yeah. But yeah, this part is definitely very good. There was a revolt. If so, then the slave took place of the Lord. Yeah, that's a pretty solid theory. Absolutely. We'll see if it is correct then. Shall we jump into the game? Let's see, which button is it? It's that button. Alright. And as always, tell me if the music is too quiet or too loud. It should be fine, but you know. Alright. You better have a damn good reason for this. Oh, it's this CG again, but with Jacopo. I came because you said you had something important to discuss. Volume's okay? Good, perfect. Now, care to tell me who the hell this white-haired man is and what he's doing here? You neglected to mention we'd be having company. I'm the one who asked him to arrange this meeting with you. And who the hell would you be? He's an angel. Or a prophet. What? Did you both finally snap under the pressure? I leave it for you to decide what you think I am. Yeah, Yukimasa is staring at us, right into our soul he is. It's funny how Mel is the only one who looks miserable. Well, yeah, he's in the company of people that he doesn't really like, so, you know. I'm here but lurking, Castina. Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. Lurking is absolutely okay. I'm just glad to have you. I will say though, that I know everything. I know you got a girl imprisoned in the observation tower, and I know you're taking her blood and calling it medicine, passing it out at the church. Which one of you squealed? No one told him anything, he just knew. He knows everything, including my deepest desires and what happens in my next life. He's probably peering into your soul this very moment. You completely lost it, I see. Well, how you got your information doesn't matter. All I need to know is this. What are you hoping to gain from it? Wealth? My downfall? What? Morgana's freedom. I want you to give me your key. And then I want you to tell me your story. I've come here from the future, from the world after Morgana's death. Her soul courses with hatred for the three of you, and she placed a curse of eternal suffering on your souls. Has everyone at this damn table gone mad? Did you seriously think I would believe that nonsense? Don't interrupt me. My objective is not so much to rescue Morgana's physical body from the tower, but to save her soul from an eternity of loathing. I can't achieve that on my own, however. Because I am not from this time, I have had no direct interaction with her or anyone else here until just recently. In order to make her have a change of heart, I need to gather the truth from the people who are from this time. And I suspect that you hold the last piece of the puzzle. The biggest piece. That you have a far deeper connection with Morgana than anyone else here. No, I'm all but certain of it now. Your perspective is crucial to accomplishing my goal. Tell me your whole story, please. How you ended up capturing and imprisoning Morgana, and what you thought and felt along the way. Your truth will get through to her. I know it. That will be the turning point in all this. Her curse will be no more, and you will all be returned to the paths you were meant to walk. Everyone will have their salvation. Someone throw this madman out. I won't do it. Neither will I. Damn worthless curse. I think Mel is just mad that his sister got a new brother that is taller and richer than him. Oh my god. I'll call the guards then. Who do you think I am exactly? I am the lord of this land. Under ordinary circumstances, I never so much as deign to speak with you, lowly peasant. Now get out of my sight, or I'll take it as an act of aggression and you'll find yourself without a head. In this room, right now, you're not a lord, you're a lone man. Until you hand over your key, we're not letting you leave. And you find there aren't any guards for you to call. You're all alone on this estate. Your preoccupation with staying out of sight played right into our hands. Accept your defeat, Lord. We already agreed to set the witch free. Cowardly worms. Ironic, coming from you. Huh. I didn't think you'd turn coat quite so eagerly. The nun and your kid's sister are in on it too, I take it? We were only working for you. We were only working for you. We never felt any sort of allegiance to you. Loyalty founded on what one has to gain or lose is far more resilient than uncertain, fluctuating feelings. But it would appear this white-haired man shattered that foundation. How long have you been colluding with them, cur? I arrived in this era 2 days ago. What? 2 days? In just 2 days you got these worms dancing for you? They are not dancing for me. I merely spoke with them, and they listen. You're a disturbed man. You cannot possibly have won these two over in a mere 2 days. He's no ordinary man. As we said, he knew everything. While I was talking to him, it felt like he was looking directly into my soul. He's definitely an unusual one, yeah. It felt like he's known me my whole life, even though he just showed up out of nowhere 2 days ago. I didn't believe what he was saying at first, but he knew things he couldn't possibly know. My secret wish, something I've never told anyone before. I don't know what kind of tricks you're playing, but now I know why I've never seen you around. If you've been lurking around the city for longer, sticking your nose where it didn't belong, I would have taken notice sooner or later. Ha! I'm impressed. In only 2 days you managed to convince them both to betray me and set me up. I am indeed the one in charge of this operation, so if it's the witch you're after, I'm the obvious target, yes. And the 2 dogs there surely have some pent-up rage. So I take it you're going to tie me up, then torture me until I tell you what you want to know. That's not a bad idea. What do you say? Give me the word and he's in ropes. Wait, we agreed we weren't getting rough. I have no interest in solving this problem with violence. We're here to uncover the truth. I think he'd like that. No, I do not think he'd like that. Oh my god. Are we back to this again? We needed to exchange blows, only words. Anyway, if we were going to beat it out of him, we would have done so as soon as we walked through the door. We discussed this beforehand, we're only talking. When did we leave? I mean, true, I guess you got a point. No one's getting into any fights. Physically or verbally. That's right. Well, it looks like I got no way out, so you got me. I surrender. Take my key. Go open the tower doors. What? That was easier than expected. Your key is not important right now. Your perspective is what I seek. Why did you make it so the lock required 3 keys? 1 person is more than adequate for the job. So why split it 3 ways? Is that any of your concern, cur? Was it because it was too much waste to bear alone? You didn't actually want to imprison Morgana, did you? Something somewhere went wrong. You backed yourself into a corner and couldn't escape. I'm done listening to you. Am I right or am I wrong, Lord? Or should I say, Jacopo? Jacopo? But isn't his name, Jean-François Bonnier? That's Lord Bonnier to you, you insolent child. You seem to be a bit confused. I am son of the house of Bonnier, which means I'm royalty. No, you are not. I don't know how you came to start calling yourself Bonnier, but there's not a drop of royal blood flowing through your veins. The slave revolt at the Lord's Manor 7 years ago. You were there, weren't you? During the revolt, you helped Morgana escape. That's right, you saved her life once. That was you. You were the slave from 7 years ago. Slave? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Me, a slave? Like hell a former slave could become royalty. You did it though. You went from slave to lord. Enough! I don't know who's filling that white-haired head of yours with this drivel, but I'm done listening to it. Say another word and I'll throttle you myself. Keep slandering my name, I dare you. How did Michelle come to that conclusion? Completely unbelievable. Yeah. I know, right? Bad writing. Bad writing. Maria told me the slave from back then was dead. She didn't mean it literally though. She meant he wasn't who he used to be anymore. Maria? You've been talking to her too? Because she was afraid if Morgana found out, it would only serve to throw her deeper into despair. The man who had once saved her was now responsible for keeping her imprisoned. Do your ears not work, cur? I said I've had enough. I need your perspective. There's more to the story. I'm certain of it. I refuse to believe you acted only for your own benefit, only to cause her pain. If you want the key so damn badly, then take it! Set the witch free. I don't give a damn. But if you say another word, I'll rip your fucking tongue out. Again, the key is not what I need right now. I need your story. Are you deaf or just an imbecile? Your perspective is crucial to save Morgana's soul. Enough. When you were a slave, you helped Morgana escape from the Lord. Silence. And you spent the next 3 years with her. Yes, but this swear word was not in censor, so therefore I can read it. It's only the censored one we are censoring. Just one more fucking word. I swear to God. So how did you end up here? How did a boy from 7 years ago go from saving her to locking her up and stealing her blood? There's no excusing your actions, no. But please, I need you to tell me how you got to this point. Enough! Michelle! The next thing I see is a dagger in his hand pointed at me. I reflexively try to push myself out of the path of his charge with my dominant hand, which sends a jolt of excruciating pain up my right arm. I'll rip your fucking head off! The Lord swings his arm up, and the necklace spills from my pocket, making a metallic clink as it hits the floor. When he sees it, his eyes go wide for a brief moment. Of course. I'm just as slack-jawed as him. What? What the hell is going on? Why? How? Why am I looking at a familiar cloud of inky black darkness? There's no one to answer my question though, and no time to think about it either. I have to make a decision, right now. The Lord, dagger raised, is quickly approaching. Off to the side, the cloud of darkness is expanding. I think it's reach into the darkness that is the right choice. I hope it is, because I don't want to go to bad endings yet. Or I don't want to go to the bad endings, period. That's what I'm trying to say here. Because there's really no point in... yeah, good idea. Good idea. let's save. Yeah, I do think Into the Darkness is the right choice here, because I don't want the bad ending, because it's sort of spoiling stuff to come. We are going to see pretty much the same thing, but it's a bad end, so yeah, Into the Darkness. I reach my hand into the darkness spreading from the necklace, and as soon as I do... What the hell is this? What's that black stuff? The blackness swells, consuming us all. No, stop! What is this? Don't make me... Watch this! His shouts fade into the distance, and my mind and body are swallowed up entirely. It's the same thing that happens whenever Giselle and I open a door. The same darkness I've gazed into again and again and again and again in that cursed mansion. That house that exists outside reality. Far, far off into the distance, I can see a gentle light, like a hole ripped out of the darkness. Green grass and colorful flowers rustling in the wind. Warlock powers go, yeah. Michelle is a warlock, confirmed. I don't understand. The darkness, it was never present in the past. It was, I thought, a phenomenon restricted to the realm of the dead. So what is it doing here? But even my questions are, in short order, swallowed up by the void. Soon, my body ceases to retain its form, leaving only my consciousness to view the sights, sounds, and emotions of someone's past. I become an observer, as I have many times before. I wonder where I should sit if I'm... I sit here for now, and then you can tell me if I should move somewhere. But I will read. I'm staring into a pair of ruby-red eyes, open wide with shock. I recall snapping at him, insulting him, but I don't remember what I said. Nor do I remember how he responded. All I know is that a wave of churning blackness appeared out of nowhere, washing me away. I'm powerless, helpless, hopeless. My young mind sucked into it like a whirlpool. Young? My young mind? Oh, for Christ's sake. Computer, what are you doing? Stop it. Not now. You have got to be kidding me. Why? For the love of God, why? Am I being made to look back at this part of my life? The miserable, stupid fucking romantic I once was. Why am I turning back into the boy I tried so hard to forget? Where did this absurd black smoke come from? And why can't I get out of it? If it's that white-haired man who's doing this to me, then he's not an angel or a prophet. He's the goddamn devil himself. But all my questions, my confusion, my frustration, everything that composes my present, is superseded by that darkness, wisping away into nothing. To be blunt, the world's a small place. There's an unimaginable amount of it out there, but you only ever get to see a minuscule fraction of that. And that goes doubly so for us. The poor barely get the chance to see any of it at all. And those who were born into affluence, well, they have no idea just how small our world really is. I never yearned for the world outside what I knew. I more coveted it, a splash of spite mixed in. I wanted to claw my way up the mountain, knock all the bastards down who had never seen what it was like at the bottom. If I made it high enough, I could do anything. I would have complete freedom, If that sounds like a childish fantasy to you, well, you'll be right. That's exactly what it was. I feel like maybe I should move. Maybe I can... Let's see. There. I think that's a good corner. I'm back in my corner because I don't think I will be in the way of anything, so I think this is good. Just have to remember to move back later. There you are. You spent so much time in the graveyard that one of these days someone's going to think you're a gravekeeper, or maybe a grave robber. I can understand a gravekeeper, but I take offense at the suggestion I look like a grave robber. I'm praying for the souls who have no one to see them off. The girl, named Morgana, turned around to face me. Though I'd known her for some time, I'd rarely ever looked her in the eyes. Her face was almost always concealed beneath a dark hood, revealing only the tip of her nose and sometimes her lips. Honestly, I don't get it. Why do you care so much? These are souls that have no one else to pray for them. At best, they may get a bit of lip service from a priest once or twice. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and the poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. What I don't get is why you need to pray for the dead at all. They're just bags of bones. I hope you enjoy an eternity in hell, blasphemer. Hey! That was uncalled for. I'm just joking, obviously. You take black humor to a new level. Morgana gave me a curt shrug, then turned away. She never faced anyone head on for very long, and she had a perfectly good reason for it. It wasn't because she disliked me or anything. I don't think, anyway. About 3 years earlier, something had happened that had caused her large patches of flesh to fall off her face. Supposedly, she had looked fine before then, but I only knew her as she was at the time. The rest of her body was covered in wounds as well, but applying ointment to them had reduced the scarring significantly. Her face, though, showed no signs of recovering. A close friend of mine, a prostitute, said she thought it might be a psychological thing, but regardless, I continued applying the ointment to Morgana's face. Hey, come on, don't turn away from me. I know you can hear me. I brought ointment, so let me put it on you. It's a waste of time. You don't know that. Your arms look much better than before. It won't be long before your face starts healing too. The ointment isn't free. You're wasting your money. It's my money. I can use it however I please, so you shut up and let me do this. You're a very obnoxious man, you know. What was that? You want me to rub it in real hard, huh? Fine. With a forlorn graveyard as their backdrop, a young man applied salve to a girl's raw, exposed flesh. It was quite possibly the least romantic sight in the world. I would have, at the very least, preferred a somewhat more pleasant location. As the thought fluttered through my mind, I let out a defeated laugh, and I could soon feel her glaring at me. Morgana could be a bit standoffish, but honestly, I didn't mind. For her, this was actually quite sociable, in fact. When I first met her, she didn't act her age at all, but now, she was starting to show signs of the 12-year-old girl hidden inside. 3 years prior, when I met Morgana, she had been the victim of unspeakable abuse at the hands of the Lord. I didn't know why he had done those things to her, and I didn't ask either, because I knew doing so would only reopen old wounds. All I knew was that the Lord was so far gone as a human being as to brutally torture a 9-year-old girl. At the time, the only thing that ever seemed to come out of her mouth was the word of God. Everything she said or did was ostensibly for the benefit of others, but it felt to me more like she was acting out of some sort of sense of duty rather than genuine concern. Honorable, but ultimately hollow. I much prefer this Morgana, even if she could be a bit jaded. What are you hoping to get out of repairing my face? I'm not trying to get anything, I just want you to heal up. And here I thought you were going to try and make me work at the brothel. How many times do I have to tell you I'm not going to make you be a prostitute? What other reason could you have for wanting my face to get better? Because I want to see it. Isn't that enough? Just so we're clear, that wasn't me hitting on you, okay? The thought never occurred to me. She fell quiet, sitting there motionless as I rubbed ointment into her face. Her skin beneath my thumb was rough and unpleasant to the touch, and honestly, rather stomach-turning. It was hard to imagine her face would ever heal. What I'd say about wanting to see her face was true, but what I wanted more than anything was for her to be able to live a relatively normal life. I hope you're prepared to be let down if I ever do heal. That possibility is just part of the fun. You have as much tact as a worm. No tact and bad taste. I'm a real winner. It's a wonder no one throttles you in your sleep. Being a guy, of course I would have been pleased if she turned out pretty with her face healed. But her life was guaranteed to be easier than now, no matter what she looked like. That was what really mattered, ultimately. I could only imagine how hard it was to have your life turned completely upside down at the age of 9. A large portion of us in the slums had our share of misfortune, but hardly any of them stacked up with what Morgana had to bear. She had no parents. When I'd asked about her mother, she got cagey with me, so I assumed she'd been sold off. When I'd asked about her father, though, she just pointed up at the sky, which I took to mean he was dead. A young girl, no family, sent off all on her own to some strange land somewhere along the line ending up in the Lord's cruel grasp. Misfortune felt like an understatement, if anything. That said, it wasn't just out of pity that I gave Morgana so much of my attention. The other reason, though, well, she'd probably go running if I told her. Hell, I wanted to hit myself over the head. I'll still be your friend, even if you turn out to be the ugliest girl in the city. You should be grateful. How is it you haven't managed to chase off everyone in your life yet? I act like a decent guy around other people. Do my best to fit in. Then why are you such a dolt around me? Just doing my best to fit in. So you're saying this is my fault? Everyone could use a thorn or two. Makes it more exciting. You especially. Okay, that should be everything. Does it sting anywhere? Not particularly, no. Alright. Oh, also, finish up here and get back to Maria soon. Unless you'd rather I drag you there. Why? Seriously? It's your damn birthday, that's why. And? What do you think, dimwit? She wants to celebrate. Get back there soon, okay? I'm planning to drop by too. Okay? Okay. She gave a sheepish nod, which was honestly kind of cute, but of course I couldn't say that. So I shrugged my shoulders, feigning exasperation, and then turned to leave. Once I might have offered to accompany her back to the brothel, but Morgana never seemed keen on the idea of walking anywhere with me. Maybe she was afraid of grown men after what happened to her at the Lord's Manor, or maybe she just didn't want me to be seen with someone who looked like her. So, hey, I thought you were leaving. One day I'll show you the world. I won't get my hopes up. Get your hopes up, damn it! I said with a soft chuckle, and then I took my leave. I had every intention of making good on that promise, and I had more than enough reason to believe I could. 3 years back there was a slave revolt at the Lord's Manor. That's not quite accurate though, because while I was partly responsible for inciting the riot, I wasn't actually a slave. The local lord was spoken of in whispers as the second coming of the great tyrant of old. The people were constantly grumbling about how he seemed to treat the land like his own personal playground, exploiting everything and everyone on it for his own amusement. When enough stress and resentment builds up in a contained space, all it takes is a little shove from the outside to burst. And that was our plan, Me and a number of other dissatisfied citizens gathered together to pop that bubble and give the Lord a taste of how we felt about him. With the help of a slave trader, I infiltrated the Lord's manor. I known slaves weren't treated well, but seeing it for myself, I thought most of these people would have been happier having been born as a dog or a cat and owned by someone who actually had a heart. It was revolting, a flagrant injustice. Broadly speaking, there are two types of people who see injustice in the world. The first are those who have everything, who sit unchallenged at the top of the world, looking down on the less fortunate with pity. The second are those with nothing, who wish to overthrow the entire system keeping them down. It should come as no surprise that I fell in the second camp. Once I was inside, I went around the manor telling all the slaves about our plan. Most of them had long since lost the will to fight, but with enough assurance, there were people on the outside ready and waiting to help. Glimmers of hope started to return to their eyes. Finding out they weren't alone, that they weren't helpless anymore, had an incredible effect on their morale. And once the slaves were convinced, the revolt began. It ended up being much larger in scale than I had imagined, and many lost their lives in the process, but the majority of them managed to escape. Naturally, the slaves couldn't stay in the city, so I directed them to people waiting outside who could take them to another city or neighboring country. I had neither the money nor the power to guarantee them a good life on the outside, but that hardly mattered to them. Everyone was sure that wherever they ended up would be better than staying, and I prayed that would be the case. It was during the revolt that I saved Morgana. I would have sent her off somewhere else like all the other slaves, but she was in so dire a condition when I found her that she could hardly even move on her own. She had been sapped of all her willpower. So I brought her to the brothel where a friend of mine worked and asked her to take Morgana in. My companions and I reveled in the revolt's success. It wasn't enough of an accomplishment to have any real political implications, but we still felt like heroes. Drunk on victory, we started talking about going bigger, starting a full-on revolution. Once the elation passed, though, we realized there wasn't much more we could do. Even if we did manage to start a large enough uprising to kill the Lord, we were only peasants. Not only did we not know the first thing about ruling, the other counts would never acknowledge our authority anyway. We'd pretend to be in control until the next in line showed up, and that would be the end of that. So we just ended up sitting on our thumbs, no way to do anything about our discontent. Skip forward to about a month before Morgana's birthday. One day, a middle-aged woman approached me. I had never met her before, but she had wavy hair that reminded me a great deal of my own. Looking me straight in the eye, the woman said, "I was once a maidservant for the Bonnier estate. They've done their best to keep it secret, but I had a child with the previous lord, and that child is you." The revelation came completely out of the blue. According to her, I had royal blood, and if we could convince the lord of that, I would become royalty. Furthermore, she, as my alleged mother, could return to her old life at the manor. The woman urged me to take action, to meet the lord, reveal my lineage, and reclaim my rightful place at the Barnier house. I would no longer be a poor peasant living in the slums. I would have a comfortable life. I obviously wasn't going to agree on the spot. Her story was so blatantly dubious, I needed some time to think on it. If she was telling the truth, though, it could transform our revolution from a dream into a reality. We wouldn't be restricted to inciting inconsequential uprisings. I could seize power legitimately and make some actual change. Oh, by the way, I'm Elon Musk's son. Oh my god. Yeah. So I asked the woman to give me some time to consider. "Have you decided what you're going to give her?" That was the very first thing I heard when I stepped through the back door of the brothel. Maria, a short blonde-haired prostitute and good friend of mine, flashed me a devilish smirk. Jeff Bezos, oh my god. So, when are you going to take control of everything then? In the past, there was no way to prove that wrong, word versus word, really. Yeah, very true. It was a lot easier to fake your identity back then, that's for sure. His true name is Jeff Eggos. Oh my goodness. I bought a necklace, as per your suggestion. Girls appreciate that sort of thing, don't they? Most do. Me, I got a taste for knives and other such pointy things. I doubt she has much interest in those, though. Sometimes I wonder if you're actually a girl. Anyone could see that Maria and I were close, but our relationship was strictly platonic. Of course, given her line of work, it was unavoidable that people thought otherwise. And honestly, it irritated me every time someone suggested we were anything more than friends. People have this annoying, short-sighted tendency to assume that just because a guy and a girl are friendly, they must be intimate. That's actually quite true. And also, like, a thing still these days, which is very strange and quite sad, to be honest. Jeff Bernice sauce, oh my god. Guys. It didn't matter that she was a girl. I only thought of her as a friend, and as best as I could tell, that's all she thought of me as well. Yeah, it's definitely less common these days, but it happens. Maria and I first met when we were children. Even at that age, she was already a prostitute, myself a petty thief. We were both incredibly lucky to have survived to adulthood with only ourselves to watch each other's backs. It's possible the only reason either of us maintained the willpower to survive this long was because we had each other to bitch about life to when things got bad. But at the same time, if they are, so what? Well, yeah, also true, also true. People have a tendency to not mind their own business, I feel, a lot of times, so... So, is today the day? Are you finally gonna tell her how you feel? Excuse me? Tell her how you what? Don't be coy. You know exactly what, and it's about time you manned up and told her. I think you got a better chance than you think. Do I need to remind you how old she is? 12 as of today. Practically an adult. I was knee-deep in dick at that age. You're comparing her to you? The longer you hold off saying something, the more difficult it becomes. Break a leg! Party's gonna be in the back, so there won't be any customers around to interfere. Alright. I chewed over what Maria had said as I watched her disappear down the brothel corridor. She wasn't wrong. She wasn't overanalyzing. I did indeed have special feelings for Morgana. Women seem to have this strange, somewhat terrifying ability to read people's minds, and Maria was a prime example of that. I had never once so much as suggested to anyone I might think of anything of Morgana, but Maria had somehow managed to pick up on it almost immediately. Fortunately, she didn't seem particularly bothered by the fact, though if anyone else were to find out, I can only imagine the looks I would get. I mean, Morgana was 12, and I was 22. Oh boy, I hate this part of the game. This is the only thing in the house in Fata Morgana that I don't like, because I think it's, like, I get it. It's way back when, in the Middle Ages, like, it's even before, like, Michelle and Giselle's time, so it's very, very far back in time. So I get that it's not as big of a deal back then, but why not age Morgana up, or at least, like, age Jacopo down to make it less uncomfortable for modern readers, because I am certainly very uncomfortable by the whole thing, and that they even are trying to, like, push it into a, like, romance and a ship, and yeah, I think it's, like, I get it, and I can still appreciate the story. I still appreciate the characters, and I can still feel for them. I don't hate Jacopo because he has these feelings for her, like, because it's fiction. and it's a different time period. So, but like, why not just change their ages to make it more suitable for a modern reader? That's my only complaint about this game. Also, still not a big deal in some parts of the world. Yeah, sadly, but that's a different conversation entirely. But yeah. But yeah, so I hope you guys can still enjoy the story and not be too uncomfortable by this. Like I said, it's fiction and it's representing a different time period, but it is a bit iffy. Definitely. That wasn't normal. I never felt this way about anyone else that young either. Any other girl Morgana's age just looked like another kid to me. So why was she any different? She was covered in scars, and every other time we met she would tell me to go to hell, and she refused to walk anywhere with me, and no matter how much ice I broke, I could never seem to get all the way through. Yet still, the world felt like it was just a little bit better a place when I was with her. It made me want to see her smile, no matter how grotesque her face. How would I even go about saying it, assuming I actually did? You have no issues as long as it's fiction? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Even if your face still isn't healed in 4 years, I'll take you as my lifetime partner, Morgana? God, no, that's terrible. There has to be a better way to put it. Now I was getting stressed out, and it was all thanks to Maria. It was supposed to be a day of celebration, not of fretting over stupid personal matters. Not long after I arrived at the brothel and made my way to the back room, Maria and a handful of other unoccupied girls showed up. Morgana, who was supposed to be the guest of honor, was even more reticent than usual. The prostitutes chatted among themselves about work in unabashedly graphic detail, trading info on which customers were good and which customers were bad, all the while Morgana looking incredibly uncomfortable. You guys think you could maybe change the subject? Like we have anything else to talk about? Making the birthday girl want to hide in a corner defeats the whole purpose, don't you think? Oh no, don't mind me. I don't have anything I want to talk about, Morgana said almost in a whisper, her head downturned. At least eat something then. The cookies are barely sweetened and dry as rocks, but they're edible. Jacopo, you little bitch! You got some stones to shit-talk my cookies to my face. Stop it, Maria! Stop throwing things at me! The other girls cackled as Maria and I bickered. Hoping it might have elicited a reaction from Morgana as well, I snuck a glance over at her, but she remained expressionless. You are right about one thing though. This is Morgana's day. So let's change the subject, Maria said with a little laugh, having hurled everything within arm's reach at me. Like I said, I don't have anything to talk about. Sure you do. You just have to look a little harder. Not saying you have to reminisce for us. It can be anything. Let's see. Here's an idea. Are there any guys you got your eyes on? I spewed my tea all over the table. There is. And then I started choking. What? Seriously? Holy shit! Who is it? Tell me, who's the lucky guy? God. Everyone fell silent. Oh my god, you guys. Stop. You guys are insane, and I love you for it, but you're insane. Maria gave me a sympathetic look, and I knew exactly what she wanted to say. Sorry, kid, you ain't got nothing on God. Asshole. If you're gonna dream big, right? Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Pining after the all-powerful, all-knowing God. I'm with you. You bald-faced liar. The grass may be hell of a lot greener up there, but it's a bit far, don't you think? You're better off settling for the weeds down here. Did she just imply I'm a weed? Maria looked over and gave a wide grin at the sight of me grinding my teeth, then continued. Say, the young man over... Wait, stop right there. Don't say another word. Whoopsie, me and my big mouth. I almost did your job for you. Damn it, Maria. This was not good. Like hell I was going to let her corner me into saying it here. I stole a glance at Morgana, but her gaze was locked on her knees. I couldn't see what, if any, kind of reaction she was having. Morgana, what she was trying to say is that I have to go. What? I have to go to the bathroom. Sure. Morgana got up from her chair and left the room in silence. You just now remembered you're a mod? Fia, you are indeed a mod. You have a green name instead of a pink name. And you have a... whatever those kind of tools are called next to your name. So, yes, you are a mod. It's fine though, I don't think it's any problem, so just have fun. Wrench, thank you, that's what it's called. You're blue? Well, yeah, maybe in the YouTube chat, but in the stream chat, you are green. Yeah, embrace full chaos, it's fine. It's nothing too bad, I think, so... I imagine I was making a rather flaccid expression, because as soon as Morgana was gone, Maria began cackling like a madwoman. My reply was the nearest object, courtesy of my throwing arm. Loser! How hard is it to just say it? It would have been easier if you hadn't cornered me like that. You think I believe you would have done it without a little nudge? I would have. Eventually. Eventually ain't gonna cut it. Now's the right time. And don't worry, me and the girls won't make fun of you for getting your rocks off to little girls. That's not the reason I like her. Besides, I would wait at least 4 years before... Doesn't mean you can't tell her now. I think it'd do her wonders, really. She's, well, you know. So I think knowing someone cares about her will lighten the load a bit. When she comes back, give her the necklace and tell her how you feel. And if she turns you down, we can all have a good laugh about it. Yeah, at least he's ready to wait, so yeah, that's at least one good thing about it. And Maria, yes, she's far too open. That's why I wouldn't, like, back to the question of who we wanted to, like, date if we had to. That's why I wouldn't be able to be with Maria, because she would make me so uncomfortable being so extremely extroverted and open and free. So, yeah. Maria and a few other girls chuckled. As uncomfortable as she was making me feel, she had a point. Regardless of whether Morgana reciprocated my feelings or not, there was a good chance that just putting them out there would help in breaking down the wall she had built in her heart. And maybe one day, I would actually be able to see her smile. I'll do it. I'll tell her. It didn't matter if I came out looking like a loser. It didn't matter if Morgana wasn't interested in me that way. What mattered was that she knew someone accepted her, regardless of her appearance or the things she had been through. And if, by some chance, there really was royal blood flowing through my veins, then I can make good on my promise to show her the world. I can put an end to her life of poverty and abuse, replace it with one of comfort and wealth. I could buy her even better medicine, something that could actually heal her face. If I truly were royalty, I could do so much more for her. Makes it sound like I want to be some kind of fairy tale hero or something. But honestly, I wouldn't have minded that. If I was going to make her happy, to wipe away all her past misfortune. Why couldn't I make it a little dramatic? It wasn't actually my style, but in this case, I wouldn't have objected to a storybook ending. This, though. No, this wasn't the kind of story I was hoping for. The heavy curtains separating the guest rooms had been torn to shreds, and they were splattered with blood. A man, apparently caught without enough time to defend himself, lay splayed out naked on a bed, his empty eyes fixed on the ceiling. The whole area reeked of blood. All I could do was stare stupefied at the carnage. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? My dumbfounded muttering went unanswered though. The few who were still alive could no better make sense of the incomprehensible massacre than me. The sudden, arbitrary upheaval of our world. The inexplicable, inescapable reality. Shortly after Morgana stepped out, I heard a woman scream from the front of the brothel. Next, a man shouting. At first I assumed it was one of the customers losing his temper over something, but the tone of the scream seemed somehow off or something like that. It wasn't long before the noise had escalated to alarming levels, so I dashed toward the source of the shouting. I feel like I'm oddity, usually introverted, but in moments of extroversion. Maria sounds like a fun friend to have. Yeah, I mean, I think we both, like, all people have a bit of both in them. Like, I'm mostly introverted. Like, I don't really like overly lively places and situations, I guess, unless I'm like with people I'm comfortable with. When I'm with people I'm comfortable with, though, I can be very like forward and extroverted, but most of the time I'm really not. Yeah, in small doses, exactly. And yeah, Maria could be fun, but and I'm not saying like having a friend like that would be a problem per se, but it could be a problem depending on like how perceptive she would be to my introvertedness, because it could become a bit too much as well, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it all depends on the company really and the people, and it's hard to tell like just from a fictional character if I would get along with them or not, because people are more complicated than that. So yeah. A good dozen men, bandits, or maybe thieves, they seem more organized, had raided the brothel. They slaughtered all the customers, stripping them of any valuables, and they tied up the girls, killing any who resisted. The first thought that rose to my panicked mind was that I needed to find Morgana. I needed to get her out of there, no matter what. I couldn't let her birthday turn into a tragedy. She had already been through enough, and I had to make sure she didn't suffer any further. I had to make her life into something good. I searched and I searched, but there was no sign of Morgana anywhere, until suddenly something seemed to crash into me from behind, causing me to stagger. It took a few seconds for the pain to set in, which is when I looked down to see the tip of a blade sticking out of my gut. Blood streamed along the metal surface, and there were little bits of flesh caught in the edges. I turned around just in time to see the man holding it kick me away, and before I had time to process what was happening, I hit the floor and lost consciousness. If I were a hero, I could have surely eradicated all the violent intruders in the blink of an eye, saving everyone. Protected that which I wanted to protect. Not had to lose anything. But I was a mere boy. A weak boy, helpless against a few robbers. A useless boy, unable to protect anyone. Quite often people are, oh, this is fictional character, I want to marry them, and I just go, you do know they are a horrible person, right? I'm guilty of that. I'm very guilty. Like, Yeah, Astarion. Yes, yes. uh, yeah, he gets better in the story, but starts off oof. Yeah, very true. Like, and here's the thing. I love those kind of characters. I love the evil ones. They are, for some reason, very attractive. But like, if I would meet someone like that in real life, I would run. I would run so fast. Like, no. The people I like in real life and the people I like in fiction, they are very different from one another, so... So yeah, if I met Astarion in real life, I probably would not want to marry him. Like, maybe he's like better self, like when he's gone through his journey, so to speak. Then maybe, because it does become a better person if you go with like the spawn route. But otherwise, no, probably not. I want someone who's nice and takes care of me and does not insult me any chance to get, and like and also like are a risk to my life. Please, I want safety and calmness in my life. Yeah, no, not after they ascended. Oh my goodness, absolutely not. I have heard enough about that. I have not seen it myself because I chose it the other way, but no. How about it? So you want to have some of me? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. No. I don't think me and Astarion would be a good match in real life, but in fiction, I'm gonna keep drooling and raise him to the skies because he's awesome. So, yeah, definitely a little full of himself, absolutely. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to, like, talk about these kind of things, like what kind of stuff you like in fiction and what you like in real life, because it's, for me, it's very different. Oh wait, I didn't actually read that, sorry. When I woke up, Maria was kneeling over me, sobbing. No sign of the tough, foul-mouthed girl I knew. Aside from her, there were 2 other girls also crying, leaving only 4 survivors. Apparently I wasn't dead. Looking down, I saw my bare stomach wrapped in blood-soaked bandages. The brothel lay in ruins, a bloody pile of torn bedding, clothes and bodies. I made my way back to the front, and all I could do was stare stupefied at the carnage. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? My dumbfounded muttering went unanswered though. Maria stood beside me, quietly rubbing her trembling arms. Where's Morgana? I couldn't find her. Why not? I'm sorry, I looked everywhere. But I couldn't find her. I'm so sorry. I wanted... Oh, it was Maria who's... Okay, noted. It's hard when you don't have like markers to tell who it is, but okay, it was Maria who was sorry, who didn't find her. Got it. I mean, obviously, because Jacopo was out of it until now. So, yeah. My bad. I wanted to say I wasn't blaming her, but I couldn't find the words. If I'd had power, I could have prevented this from happening. What kind of power would I have needed, though? The physical strength to overpower the thieves? No, I needed to think bigger. If I weren't a peasant, but someone of real influence and import, no one would dare stand up to me. No petty thieves would ever even consider a raid on me. And I would have the power to punish anyone who tried. But regardless, this would have never happened at all. I was supposed to give Morgana a good life, to show her the world, to make her smile. If only I had power. Absolute, unflinching power. If I had climbed to the top of the ladder when the chance was offered to me, this all could have been avoided. If only I had asserted my place as royalty a month earlier, as the woman who claimed to be my mother had urged me to. I wanted power. The power to keep everything I cared about safe. The power to change this damn world. The power to stop those filthy thieves. The power to keep her by my side. I wanted power. I heard about the attack on the brothel, and that you were hurt. I'm so glad to see you're well. About a week after the raid, I went to see the woman who professed herself my mother. As you would expect of someone who had served at the old lord's manor, she was very elegant and graceful. Famous story of becoming the thing you hate? Yes, absolutely. The shack where she stayed, though, was a shabby, drab place with bare wattle and daub walls. You were concerned about my safety? Of course. Show me a mother who is not always concerned about her child's safety. Says the woman I'd never seen until a month ago. Physical distance has no bearing on a mother's love, she said with a soft smile. Age had clearly begun taking its toll on her, but I could see hints of former beauty. If you had gone to speak with the Lord and revealed your lineage when I first came to see you, you would never have been in that kind of danger. There is still time. Go to the Lord's manor. Show him. I'm not really your son, am I? The woman fell silent for a moment, observing me. I could see the resemblance between us, yes, and I had no memories of my mother. It would be nice if she were to show back up someday. But it just wasn't likely. This whole thing felt extremely contrived. Discussions would progress much smoother if we both know what the other wants out of this arrangement. Start by telling me who you really are. Were you actually a maidservant for the previous lord? She gave a nod, then walked over to a grimy shelf and retrieved a ring that looked very much out of place. It was made of gold, engraved with an elaborate insignia. Look at this. It's the Barnier family crest. The previous lord gave me the ring as a gift, and I've kept it ever since, even after our relationship was discovered and I was chased out. I didn't sell it, because I knew I was with child. They would have no choice but to acknowledge you as a legitimate heir if you showed them this ring. Why did you wait so long to come find me then? I was afraid I might kill you if I brought you in as a baby. Why were we separated? Misfortune. One day, bandits came and kidnapped you. Presumably they were hired by the Barnier estate because they didn't want your existence coming to light. I consider it a miracle you're still alive. I can only imagine the stern look on my face as I listened to the woman speak. Part of me did, indeed, want to take everything she said as true. Wanted to believe I was someone important. But I couldn't convince myself I had anything other than a commoner's blood running through my veins. It would appear you've done your research. I don't have any other family, to the best of my knowledge, which does indeed make me a good candidate for you to step in and claim your stake on. If I were to guess, your child with the Lord has either passed away, or never existed at all. It's probably true that you worked at the Barnier's manor, and it's probably true that you had relations with the former lord. You were chased out, and now you live in poverty. You want to go back to your former, more comfortable life, and while you're at it, take vengeance on the current lord. But, being a woman, you have no means to accomplish that yourself. So you came up with the idea of using a fake son. If your child was still alive, he would be right about my age, wouldn't he? And we look similar enough for you to convincingly claim we're related. But the biggest reason you chose me is because I made something of a name for myself. Because I was one of the people involved in the site of the revolt 3 years ago. The perfect choice to spearhead a revolution. How dramatic! The man who set the Lord's slaves free was secretly his family. The people who ate it right up. So, how far off am I? For some time the woman sat in silence. Eventually she broke it, not by yelling in anger or desperately trying to refute me, but with a smile. I knew very well what lurked behind that smile too. Scorn. You're sharp for a filthy peasant. It would seem I chose wisely. I was right. She was a manipulative, conniving shyster. Shyster? Is that how you say that? But that I could work with. That fits so much better. I wasn't royalty. I wasn't a hero. I was a filthy peasant. I'm in. The first thing I did after agreeing to work with the woman was not to approach the Lord, but to reveal my false lineage to my accomplices. They all thought I was joking until I showed them the ring. Then, the dreams of revolution started seeming far more realistic. Maria was the one exception. Not only did she not believe me, she tried to stop me from going through with the scheme. Haven't you had enough danger for one life? Come on, forget about all this revolution stuff. We can build up a new brothel and just stay low for the rest of our days. Does that really sound so bad? You're the only friend I got left, Jacopo, she said somewhat desperately. I sympathized with her concerns, but I didn't want to let this chance to gain some real power slip away. I was done having things taken away from me. Also, is it shyster then? Did I say it right? I've never seen that word before. Hear me, my fellow citizens, who live in suffering at the hands of your supposed lord. Within me flows the blood of the previous lord. I am the rightful heir. Behold, the Barnier's golden ring, proof that I am of noble birth. Victims of this terrible tyrant, the time has come to start anew, and I shall be the one to lead you down that path. The poor, the hungry, the deprived, all of you, stand with me. My call to arms stoked the flames in the people's hearts. When the assault on the Lord's manor began, they were an inferno of righteous justice. No one was thinking straight. I was about the only one with something resembling a clear head amidst the chaos. If I were really a hero, then I would have rejoiced at in that glorious day, that momentous turning point in the city's history. I would have been honored to have led I can't read anymore, guys. I would have been honored to lead the charge. But this was all about one woman's avarice and desire for vengeance. This was all about one man's lamentation for his own weakness. I wasn't motivated by any desire to help these people. Apparently the official pronunciation would be Scheista, but your reading of my splitting is accurate to me. Okay, interesting. Word basically means someone usually in some sort of power / authority who uses deceitful tactics. Okay, interesting. The more you know. The Lord backed into a corner, begged for his life. I decapitated him, then held his severed head up for the people. Their cheers and shouts filled the air. As I watched them rejoice, I wondered, was this the future that awaited me? Would the people come after me next? Was my head going to be in one of their hands one day? The king and the other counts acknowledged my royalty, though it was less because I had the Barnier's ring and more because they thought that was the best way to prevent things from getting any messier. So with their approval, I formally became the lord of the land. I also assumed the former lord's name, because despite his reputation with his people, it was a name people knew, and one that held far more clout than my own. And just like that, my long-time dream of power had come true. That said, simply becoming the lord didn't mean everything had fallen neatly into place. Many of the local noble families accused me of acquiring my rank illegitimately. They waited, fangs bared, for me to slip up. They even tried to set me up on more than one occasion. I couldn't trust anyone. On top of that, if I took too long making the improvements I had promised the people, they would start saying I was just as much of a tyrant as the previous lord. There was only so much I could do at once, though, especially with my hands so full fending off the vulturous nobles. Exhaustion soon began to set in. This wasn't the world I was looking for, the one I wanted to show Morgana. Okay, I think I need a short stretching break. I hope we will be able to finish this before time is up today. It's taking a bit longer than what I thought, but I think we can manage. So, but let's stretch a bit at least. So don't go anywhere, but stretch. You know the drill. I'll be back soon. And I am back. Does taking a walk count? Yes, of course, it counts. It's not sitting still on your butt, so it definitely counts. What if he would explain 100% of things to the locals? You mean like telling about his situation, or what do you mean? Not sure I quite understand. It was day after draining day of betrayal, constantly having to look over my shoulder, fighting to meet unrealistic expectations. I was starting to lose sight of who I was as a person. The situation? Yeah. I mean, he probably could like tell his friends and such, but I don't think like telling... It's difficult because and we're going to explore this story more in Requiem. Because this is a very glanced over version, but like he could probably like talk to his friends maybe, but then there still are other like normal people, like the poor and those that he doesn't know, that will probably hate him, and then there are the nobles, and if he shows any sign of weakness they would come for him, so it's very much a bad spot he's in, because he needs to keep up appearances for like both in a way. Yeah, exactly. If they knew he was a fraud they would all go for his position and head, exactly. So I don't think he could just go and tell everyone like, oh, but I'm trying, but this, like, because yeah, it's complicated. And I do not envy his position. I couldn't let anyone see me looking weak. They would see it as an opportunity to take advantage of me, to manipulate me, to eliminate me. I needed power to protect myself from those people. Attaining rank was only the first step. I needed even more power. Enough to ensure no one would ever be giving me orders, could ever play me for a fool. Yeah, very much responsibility. Very much. I turned my attention first to bolstering the economy. I provided subsidies? My god, words, why? Subsidize. We're leaving that. You can correct me in the chat if you want to, but we're moving on. To merchants in the city. I expanded trade routes. I made it known that people of any skin color, even those not welcome in other territories, were welcome in my land, trying to bring some vitality to the city. The previous lord had evidently loved to throw parties, squandering away nearly all the tax money on his own entertainment. If he had left me more to work with, I would have used it to clean up and repair the slums. But for the time being, that had to remain another item on the checklist. I had it right and then I changed my mind. Okay, I see. I needed more money flowing through the city as a whole before I could make any headway on fixing the... My god, my reading abilities. Before I could make any headway on fixing up the poorer areas. Helping the people who needed it most quickly became a secondary objective. I had a pretty good idea what my former accomplices still in the slums were saying about me. He used us. I could practically hear them whispering. Some of them even started publicly slandering me in an attempt to undermine my authority, claiming I wasn't suited to be in a position of power because I spent most of my life in the slums. It wasn't long before they had convinced the people I was just another tyrant. I had hoped that they, if no one else, would have sympathized with my position, realized that I had every intention of helping them, and that I simply didn't have the resources for it yet. But no one saw what I was doing. No one believed me, even when I tried to explain. In one case, I invited an old companion to my manor to discuss matters, but the meeting only turned into an attempt on my life. Having absolutely no one I could trust, no one I could call an ally, hit me a lot harder than I had expected. It twisted my worldview beyond recognition. I had no need for sympathy. I couldn't show care for anyone, otherwise someone would inevitably use it against me, old friends and strangers alike. In fact, those who knew me best, those who were aware of where I had come from and what I had been before, were the ones who fought the hardest to tear me down. Rules needed to be created, punishments established. I couldn't allow anyone to take this power from me. Anyone who so much as suggested I had come from the slums, anyone who dared disrespect me, had to be eliminated. All threats exterminated before they could reach me. Somewhere along the line, I had lost sight of my original dream. Lost all my desire to do right by the people I cared about. Hell, I didn't have anyone to do right by anymore. Why did I need to climb to the top of the ladder? So no one could kill me. Why did I want money? So no one could mock me. Why did I want power? So no one could oppose me. 4 years passed, and I found myself in a very, very distant place. Miracle blood sounds like a sham to me. You never know. They say the sound of her first cry brought rain to the land where she was born, saving the whole village from drought. They say her blood has the power to cure any disease. One day a curious rumor came to my attention, the kind of whispering I wouldn't usually put much stock into. It was said there was a witch living in a cottage by the lake. Few had ever seen her face, but they claimed she had the same voice as a girl who had supposedly performed miracles several years earlier in a faraway village. The people loved their stories of heroes and miracles, and if I could show some support for the churches, then maybe people would stop complaining I was focusing too much on the economy. So I devised a plot to capture the witch and make use of her miracle blood. I would establish a new church, have it be run by a nun the city had been fawning over for some time. They called her the Saintess. There, I would take the witch's blood and call it a miracle medicine, distributing it in exchange for tithes, which the people would certainly come for reading, it's hard. Which the people would certainly come for in droves. And if the blood someone did happen to have special powers, then that would make the scheme that much more effective. I'll worry about the veracity of the rumors later. Right now, all I want is for you to capture her and bring her to me. I was too busy to handle capturing the witch myself, so I went and found someone to handle it for me. Yeah, he didn't know who she was. He didn't know. And remember, he never really asked about her past, so he didn't know about the story of like her being a saint and having healing powers because she never told him. So he has no idea who she is. He thinks it's just like a witch. He was a former slave who had several years back massacred an entire carriage of slaves and the slave traders transporting them. Obviously not an upstanding citizen, but there was little doubt he would have any trouble apprehending a single witch. The biggest reason I chose him, though, was because he was enamored with a nun. I honestly thought it was rather hilarious, a murderer falling in love with a nun. I had been expecting the man to object, but he agreed almost without hesitation. There was a mansion on the outskirts of the city, which the previous lord had built for himself and had gone unused since his death. It was there I decided to keep the witch, and it was there I decided to establish a church. The nun would have ample space there to provide temporary shelter to the sick and needy. I thought, with what little remained of my conscience, that I was doing the right thing. If one witch, probably an old woman at that, was all it cost to accomplish such good, then a worthy sacrifice it was. And in an ideal world, it wouldn't matter young or old, a human being was an unacceptable price for anything. But this was far from an ideal world, so I decided that taking what little remained of this woman's life was the best, no, the only acceptable course of action. She would probably despise me for it, but I would gladly accept her hatred in exchange for the benefits her blood would bring the city. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and the poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. Morgana's words from years back popped into my head. I believe that, as aggressive, self-centered, and utterly lacking in compassion as my methods may have been, I was following in that mantra. I was offering a helping hand to the people who needed it in the only way I knew how. I wasn't so dense as to think she would approve of me making an old woman pay the price for my charity, though. Doing this made me no better than a thug. But everything has a price. For every extravagant feast held, a dozen people go the night without food. That's simply the way of the world. I was no god. I was no saint. I had blood on my hands. I was a villain. I knew no way to accomplish good without doing bad. After the swordsman departed, I took some time to myself. I filled a goblet with water, smelled it, then gave a bit of it to my pet dog before gulping down the rest of it. Are you still out there somewhere, Morgana? What would you think of me if you saw what I had become? Several days later than originally planned, the swordsman finally arrived at the mansion. I had chosen the observation tower on the grounds for the witch's prison, and it was there I waited for him. He showed up with a burlap sack swung over his shoulder, setting it down on the ground and saying, "There's your witch." I could only hear muffled grunting from inside the sack, but it didn't sound like an old woman inside. The man's clothes and the bag both reeked of blood. "Tell me you didn't harm her, dog. I smell blood." "You only instructed me not to kill her. Mistakes were made. Limbs were lost." I cleaned up all the blood I got on me. No one suspected anything. That you were able to immediately recognize it as the smell of blood says quite a bit, Lord. You have killed before, haven't you? Enough yapping. She is alive, yes? Of course. I felt a tinge of guilt for the woman, but it didn't last long. Her role in my scheme, and the fate that awaited her, was the same regardless of the conditions she arrived in. I tossed my gaze from the man to the bag. He crouched down to untie it, revealing a young girl with one arm severed. As soon as I saw her, I knew exactly who the girl was. But why? What was she doing in the bag? Why was she the lakeside witch? What was she doing here? Why was she so pale and shaking? Why had I ordered her captured? How could I have done that? How could I have let this happen to her? Morgana. My voice was hoarse and rattling. She looked up at me, her face just as disfigured and hideous as it had been 4 years before. My mind flashed back to her birthday, to when I had considered offering to take her as my lifetime partner if her face hadn't healed in 4 years' time. Is that you? Her question yanked me out of my memories. You remember me? Did Morgana remember me? The 3 years we had spent together. What kind of person I had been. The boy who had refused to give up putting ointment on her face. Those horribly unromantic encounters at the graveyard. Her taking shots at me taking shots at her. All that time we had shared. How could I ever forget? Morgana, she remembered me? How could I ever forget all the pain and humiliation you put me through? How could I ever forget the blood sabbers you so loved to hold? What? What was she talking about? Haven't had enough, have you? Leaving scars on every inch of my body wasn't enough for you? You haven't had your fill of my blood? No, that wasn't me. I was the one who had tried to heal those wounds. You're the man who bound me, cut me up, called me a witch, and then tried to kill me. I haven't forgotten you even for a moment. No, Morgana. I was the man who rescued you from him. I don't care how much my father preaches forgiveness. That's the one thing you'll never get from me. I despise you with all my soul. I revile you with every fibre of my being. For every scar you gave me, I gave you a lifetime of hatred. No, Morgana. I was not aware you knew the witch lord. His voice made my blood run cold. I didn't just know her. Morgana was... This man, the Lord. He destroyed me, mind and body. No, that was another man. He was already dead. I had just taken his place. More likely she's assuming the worst, considering... Yeah, I mean, considering what she's been through, and that she is probably suffering from some blood loss, considering she lost an arm. She's probably not in the right mind, and he's older now. He's dressed differently, and he has the same name, and goes by the title Lord. So it's nothing strange that she believes him to be the old Lord. Yeah, just some blood loss, exactly. Yeah, and the room is most likely not well lit either. It's just a small window, and we don't know what kind of light there is outside right now, so yeah, a lot of things to consider here. But yeah, definitely not the turn of events Jacopo was expecting or hoping for. I had come from the slums. I had been part of the slaves' revolt. I knew I had to tell her. He ruined my life. But between the sting of Morgana's accusations and my need to protect my current position, I couldn't muster the strength to do it. If someone were to find out I wasn't legitimate royalty, that I had come from the slums, then everything I had worked so hard to build up for who, though, would come crumbling down. Do I really think it hasn't already? All I had left was my power, my rank. Is that what I actually wanted? I couldn't afford to lose that too. When did I first start straying from the path? Yes, I know her. Or I knew her years ago. I see. What do you want to do then, Lord? You look sick. This doesn't change anything. We lock the witch up and proceed as planned. Why? Why couldn't I tell her the truth? How? How could I keep her imprisoned? What did I wanted power for in the first place? Would anyone ever believe me if I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? Oof. And then there's blood. Would anyone ever believe me? Before me floats a man, twisted and writhing in pain, although whether what I'm looking at could be said to resemble a human is a difficult question. It's a hazy, indistinct shape, on the precipice of being consumed by darkness everlasting. I know very well what I'm looking at, the moments before a man's soul shatters. Did I do the same thing to him that Morgana did to me? Was it I who summoned the darkness, who laid his past bare, who forced him to relive those, to experience once more everything he felt, everything he thought? Who put him through that despair a second time? I can only imagine how he must have felt, causing someone he once cared for so much pain. The things he did are abhorrent, more than deserving of reproach. And it would undoubtedly be easy for him to simply vanish into the eternal abyss. But I can't allow that to happen. He still has work to do. His story is essential. It's almost certain Morgana still doesn't know who he really is. He needs to face her, to reveal the truth with his own words. That's the only way we're going to get her to have a change of heart. That's not all he has to say to her either. So I must bring him back, pull him out of the darkness. I grab the man by the arm and begin scouring the blackness for an exit. After some time, I see a speck of glistening high above, so I make my way upwards, back into the harsh light of the real world. There we go, we are back. And this is where I'm going to end it. And also, thank you, Michelle, for popping up there, because I am going to move myself next time. There we go. So yeah, loss aversion is one of the strongest feelings one can have. Yeah, true. And also true what they says, not very healthy a lot of times. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I really like this part of the story. As I said before, way back when we started Door 3, Jacopo is one of my favorite characters. He is my favorite character in this whole thing. Like, I love Michelle, I adore Michelle, but Jacopo I like in a different level. Because he is so very human emotions. He makes such a good villain because you can understand him so well. Like, his motivations for what he's doing. He's not an evil man. He just as in Door 3, he has so much pressure on him to keep up appearances. He does not want to hurt the white-haired girl. He does not want to hurt Morgana. But that is what he ends up doing because of the world around him and how he cannot, like, work with that. He's choosing power, which is, to be honest, quite a normal thing to do, I think. It's very sad. It's very not healthy, but it's very human. Yeah, with the white-haired girl, his insecurities also were involved. Exactly, that's true. But the scenario is still very similar. And he wants to do good, but then he ends up hurting the one he loves the most. And in the end, no one is happy. And I think that writing is just so fantastic. Because, as Michelle said, it is abhorrent what he is doing. It is awful, and there's no forgiveness for what he is doing. Absolutely not. There's no... Knowing, like, his motivation, it's no excuse. But it makes us understand him. It makes us be able to put ourselves in his shoes. And that makes it hurt. We still... can be mad at him for what he's doing, but we can also feel for him. At least I do. And that is what makes him a fantastic character in my eyes. So yeah, I do love Jacopo as a character. Definitely. I think he's amazingly written. Yeah, you agree with that? Yeah. So, but yeah, this was going on for a bit longer than I was expecting. I thought it would be a shorter stream, but it wasn't. I'm not complaining. I had a lot of fun, and I love to share this with you as always. And I think we still can go with the plan I had. So the next The House in Fata Morgana stream will be next Monday, and I do think that one might be shorter, but we will see what happens. I mean, it's so hard to tell really, because there is the text to consider, but then there's also our conversations in chat and everything, and you never know how much time those kind of discussions will take either, and I don't want to skip them just to have a shorter stream or anything, so we will see. But there definitely won't be any more than 2 more streams of this game before we move on to Requiem. That's the plan, at least. It's like GMing an RP plan for 4 hours ends up being 8 because of randomness. Yeah, it's very hard to plan. I'm thinking because next, what day is it today? I'm so confused of dates right now. Let's see. So there is a writing stream on Sunday this week. That's why we don't do a Sunday stream for Fata Morgana. And yeah, so the next Fata Morgana stream will be on Monday. And then I'm considering doing a rare Saturday stream. Because the Sunday after that we are having something quite special. Not here on this channel, but I'm going to do a collab for the first time ever on Sunday, and it's gonna be in the evening, but I still don't think I want to have another stream on the same day, so I'm considering doing maybe a Saturday stream that week, just because I want to finish on a weekend when I have more time, and the time doesn't matter as much, because during the weekdays I really only have until now, so yeah. Because then I have other stuff, and then I have work, and yeah, so I think that might be how I do things, but I'm not promising anything. I don't know if anything's gonna come up, but that's my initial plan, at least. But I will, as always, put up my schedule, so you don't need to remember what I'm saying here right now. I'm just rambling right now, honestly. Yeah, I got to leave some time to discuss Hot Guys and Maria's bounce. Oh my god. But yeah, those discussions are important as well. But yeah, next stream though will be on Thursday. We will be playing Final Fantasy VII at 16:15 GMT +2 as always. So please look forward to that. I am very much. I'm going to go now and take a shower and have some dinner. And I wish you all a lovely evening. Bye guys, see you next time. Or not, because the buttons aren't working. Hang on. Bye.